بسم الله والحمد لله الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تمسك بسنته بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. After praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sending the salutations upon the Messenger alayhi salatu wassalam, and upon his family, his companions, and upon all those who follow upon his guidance into the establishment of the last day. To proceed, ikhwan, Allahumma inna na'udha bika min ilmin la yanfa' wa min qalbin la yakhsha' wa min nafsin la tashba' wa min du'a la yusma'. Verily, Allah, we seek refuge with you from knowledge that has no benefit, and from a heart that has no fear, and from a soul that has no satisfaction nor contentment, and from a dua that goes unanswered. To proceed, ya ikhwan, فَنَوَاسِلُ مَعَكُمْ فِي هَذِهِ اللَّيْلَةِ الْمُبَارَكَةِ الْكَرِيمَةِ عَوْنًا مِنَ الرَّحْمَنِ الرَّحِيمِ. So we continue in this blessed and noble night of ours, seeking the aid and the assistance of our Lord, the most merciful and the most compassionate. مستفيدين متعلمين من علم الفقه. As we continue to learn, deriving benefit from learning together, teaching ourselves, reminding ourselves from the science of al-fiqh. من كتابي من يذكر اسم الكتاب. What book are we reading from tonight, ya ikhwan? Who remembers, who memorized the name of the book? Al-Mulakhas al-Fiqhi, the summary of Islamic fiqh, or the summary of Islamic understanding, or the summary of Islamic jurisprudence. كل هذا بنفس المعنى. All of these have the same meaning. Islamic fiqh, Islamic understanding, Islamic jurisprudence. Jurisprudence is understanding. Understanding is al-fiqh. من إمام عظيم ومن إمام كبير. From a great Imam, a big, or one of the major scholars of today, Shaykh Salih Al-Fawzan, حفظه الله تعالى. May Allah Ta'ala preserve him. وجميع علماء الإسلام, and all of the scholars of al-Islam. فوصلنا إلى كتاب النكاح ولا نزال فيه. So we have arrived at the book of marriage, and we're still within the book of marriage. طيب قال بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. طيب من له شيء قبل أن نبدأ? Who has something to mention or a benefit to share before we continue, inshallah ta'ala? Who has something to share, something to benefit for the Shaykh?
The dowry is for the women, and the father, he can use it as long as it doesn't harm her.
طيب, the dowry is for the woman. تملكه المرأة. The woman is for the woman. The right of the woman. The gift is for her. And the father, some scholars say, the father can take from this dowry as long as he's not harming her, and as long as he is what? What's the second condition? هو في المحتاج وهو يحتاج إليه. He's in need of it. فقال بعض العلماء منهم الشيخ فوزان إذا الأب لا يضر المرأة وهو يحتاج إليه وهي كذلك يحتاج إليه يجوز له أن يأخذه. Some scholars, they say, from them are Sheikh Fawzan, that if the father is in need and what he's taken from his daughter, she's not in need of it. It's extra for her. And he's not harming her by doing so. He's borrowing or taking from the extra. Some scholars say this is allowed. كما قال النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام أنت ومالك لأبيك. Oh, كما قال النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام, as the Prophet said, you and your wealth belong to your father. فبعض العلماء يستدلون من هذا الحديث بأن هذا الفعل جائز. منهم الشيخ صالح. Some scholars, they say, so this hadith shows that this action for the father is allowed. وقال الآخرون لا. Some other scholars, they say no. Allah أعلم من هو الأقوى. أو من هو الأصوب. Allah knows best what position is the most correct position. لكن الثاني في رأيي أنا أرجح والله أعلم. However, in our humble estimation, the second opinion appears to be the strongest, that the father does not have the right to do that. والله أعلم. But that's the position of our Shaykh. هل يجوز للعبد أن يخالف شيخه? Is it allowed for a servant to oppose a scholar?
Yes.
The answer is yes. نعم. أحيانا يا إخوان المسلمون أحيانا يظنون إذا واحد من طلاب العلم له رأي لا يجوز لطالب آخر أن يخالفه. وهذا خطأ. Some of the Muslims of today especially believe if one student of knowledge has an opinion that no one else can oppose that. وبعض العلماء كذلك. عند بعض المسلمين إذا الشيخ أتى بدليل يلزم على جميع المسلمين أن يوافق معه. وهذا ليس بالصحيح يا إخوان مطلقا هكذا. Some of us believe if a scholar has a position and he has his proof that the entire ummah has to take that position. And a lot of times that's not the issue. في بعض المسائل اختلاف وفي بعض الاختلافات دليل على أو من جهتين. Some issues يا إخوان there are multiple positions. Some issues the scholars may differ over, and usually you find they both have their proofs. وأحيانا أحدهما استدلاله ضعيف وأحدهما دليله ضعيف. هذا يحصل. And sometimes you find that the way he's using this point it's not that strong. The evidence doesn't support the way he's using it. You find that a lot of times also. And sometimes you see that the proof that he's using could be weak. Or some scholars say it's weak. Some scholars say it's not weak. مثال هذا التسليم. An example of that is sending salams في نهاية الصلاة. At the end of the prayer, when you say السلام عليكم. هل يجوز أن يسلم العبد على اليمين واليسار أو على اليمين فقط? Is it allowed to say السلام عليكم to the right and the left? Or is it allowed to just say السلام عليكم to the right? من يجيب? They both are correct. هل كل شيخ من الشيوخ يقولون هذا? Does every scholar say that?
No.
The answer is no. فالإمام أحمد يستدل يقولون لا يصح أي حديث ما فيه تسليمة واحدة. Imam Ahmad says all of those hadith Aisha, hadith Anas, hadith Abi Sa'id al-Khudri, many hadith that show one taslim. Imam Ahmad says in his opinion all of those hadith have weaknesses in them. All of those hadith have weaknesses in them. طيب قال بعض العلماء صحيح لكن بعضها لا يكون شديدا. Other scholars say yes, each one of them have some weaknesses in them, but their weakness is not severe. That's the second position. Other scholars say لا ليس كلها ضعيفة. Other scholars say no, not all of them are weak. وذهب إليه ابن عمر وأبو هريرة وغيرهما من الصحابة. And some of the companions had that position. From them, Ibn Umar. From them, Abu Hurairah. That you can just say, from them, Aisha. That you can just say, Salaam alaikum. والحديث جاء عند الإمام الترمذي بسند صحيح إلى النبي. And at-Tirmidhi's narration, he brings authentic chain going back from Aisha to the Messenger عليه الصلاة والسلام. المهم, at any rate, أحيانا العلماء يختلفون. Sometimes the scholars they differ. وإذا ندرس أكثر الاختلاف لا يضرنا يا أخوان. And the more we study, you're going to find that difference of opinions is not going to harm you. It's not going to harm. ولو يقع في الخطأ, even if the person is wrong. له دليل, he has his hadith, he has his ayah, he has his proof. طيب أنت تخالفه هذا الاختلاف لا يضرك أبدا. عندك دليل, عنده دليل, فما هي المشكلة? As long as he has his proofs. Even if you don't agree, but he has his proofs, the fact that you guys differ is never going to harm you. You go what you deem to be the most correct. If you're qualified to look at the evidence and you're qualified to deduce, alhamdulillah. هو لا يوافق معك, لا بأس. He doesn't agree with you, it doesn't harm. فأنت تذهب إلى أن تسليمة واحدة جائز وهو لا يوافق معك. Alhamdulillah. So you take the position that the hadith of At-Tirmidhi is correct, hadith Aisha. So in your estimation, you see it allowed to say in the salah, Assalamu alaikum. He doesn't agree. To him, that hadith is weak, like Ahmed. That doesn't harm. To Ahmed, that's not correct. To Tirmidhi, that's correct. Ahmed is what to a Tirmidhi? Ahmed is what relation to a Tirmidhi?
Student.
The opposite. A Tirmidhi is one of his students. الترمذي من هذا يقول أنا لا أخذ عن شيخي. Does Tirmidhi say, oh, my sheikh has a different opinion, so I don't take from him no longer? No, doesn't do that, ya ikhwan. Nowadays, we're like that. It's one thing إذا يدعو إلى شيء يخالف الكتاب والسنة. نعم أنا معك. It's one thing if the person is calling to something that's not from the Quran and Sunnah, then yes, I agree. That's different. لكن هو يدعو إلى السنة أو أنت تدعو إلى السنة وأخطأ في شيء أو أخطأ في شيء، هذا لا يخرجه عن سنيته أبدا يا أخوان. نحتاج إلى الدليل نقول هذا. But the origin of the sister is sound. She's calling to Quran and Sunnah in her origin, but she made some errors. But to say that this mistake takes her from the Sunnah, you need proof. You need proof, ya akhwan. And it's not like the brothers of today. You make an error, you can't go to that masjid no longer. They got lines in a row. Like, they got lines in the carpet. هذا ليس من سنة النبي. فليس لا يجوز لنا أن نصلي في هذا الجامع. هذا خطأ يا أخوان. Some people they say having lines in the masjid floor is not a sunnah. So any masjid that has that, you're not allowed to pray there. من سبقك في هذا القول? Who preceded you with that position يا أخوان? صح. ما خط النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام صفوفا قبل صلاة. صحيح. Yes. The Prophet didn't draw lines on the ground in his masjid or outside of the masjid before the prayer. Yes. However, where does that show that you can't pray there, ya ikhwan? It's not like that, ya ikhwan. And we study more, I guarantee you, we will argue less. If we study more, we will argue less. لأننا الآن عرفنا موضوع الاختلاف. Because now you know why the scholars differ. So it doesn't harm you as much. So now when the sister doesn't wear niqab, we don't got to chase out the masjid, ya ikhwan. إذا لا تلبس أسودا, if she doesn't wear black, لا نخرجها من المسجد. Now we don't got, hey sister, you're not righteous, you got on blue. Not like that, ya ikhwan. May Allah help us, ya ikhwan. Tfadal ya sheikh.
But I understand what you're saying, but the different of the scholars are different. It's totally different than the different of the students of
Totally
knowledge.
different.
Because
Same different. Totally different. I agree.
the error that one makes is impacting the community. Doesn't he have to come and
Clarify?
clarify that?
Suppose he doesn't see it's wrong. How is he clarifying? Sometimes a brother or sister يخطئ في مسألة وفي رأيه هو على صواب. كيف يبين? And this happens a lot, especially in America. The teacher, the Imam, the student of knowledge made an error. They are wrong. But and to them, they're not wrong. I'm with you. Let me finish. To them, they're not wrong. So we want them to clarify because we see it to be wrong. And we agree. They're wrong. But they don't agree. What do you do? If that's the case, ikhwan, man baqiya. If it's like that, just say, نَتْرُكُ كُلَّ مَنْ يُخْطِئ. Just say we leave off everyone that makes an error. Just say we do that. Just say we do that. And this su'alakum. I have a question now. If we do that, man baqiya, who's going to remain?
Nobody.
No, I understand.
So it's a difference, ikhwan. Somebody's making an error and someone is calling to an error. Someone is calling to the sunnah, but they made an error in the how. You guys with me? طيب واحد من المسلمين يدعو النصارى واليهود بالبايبل ليس بالكتاب ولا السنة يقوم أمام المسجد ويقرأ على النصارى واليهود من آيات البايبل هذا ليس من السنة صح؟ Somebody after Jumu'ah he comes. He's given da'wah to the Jews and the Christians out front. But he's not using the Quran and Sunnah. He's using the Bible. The Christians walk past and he recites, hey, in Matthew, the first verse, John, it says such and such and such and such. Another Christian walks past, hey, in Luke, in the second passage, page such and such, it says this and this and this. He's calling to Allah, but that way is not from the Sunnah. The Prophet didn't use their book to call them to the Sunnah. Never. استخدم الكتاب والسنة. He used the ayat of Allah in his Sunnah. So that kayfiyya laysat min sunnah. So that way he's doing it is not from the Sunnah. So, لكن لأنه أخطأ في هذه المسألة هل نتركه في الكلية؟ إذا نفعل هذا أين الدليل? If we say, since he's making an error here in the how, the origin is he's calling to Quran and Sunnah. That's the origin. But the way he's doing it is not from Quran and Sunnah. You with me? If we say, since he made an error in the how, we can no longer take from him, who's going to remain? And what's our proof of that? What you do is you correct. You enjoin the good. Forbid the evil. Bil adab, with manners. Not like today, the teacher, someone's giving a reminder, and he makes an error. Everyone stands up on him. Ya akhi, that's false. Anta sahib al-bid'ah. Hada khata. Hada kadha. Ain al-adab. Where's the manners? But you're enjoying the good, forbid the evil. Maybe you go to him. Maybe you contact him. I remember years ago, they took some issues with some of the mashaykh. Years ago. About some mistakes of some brothers. Al-nasihatul ula, the first advice the shaykh says was, اذهب إليه. تكلم معه. فانصحه. First advice the Sheikh says, go talk to him.
That's what's first.
Go sit with him. Clarify to him. Give him advice. Maybe he doesn't know it's a mistake. And that happens a lot too. And sometimes just some people's arrogance. We all witnessed that over the years. This one studied overseas, so now he gets so arrogant. He has bodyguards. People's parking his cars. The brother's carrying his books. The people have to set up his microphone. Because now he's yatakabbar. He has that arrogance. العلم لا يجعلك فوق الآخرين. أبدا. لا. Knowledge will never, ever make a person think they're superior. Never. العلم يجعل العبد متواضعا. But knowledge makes the person humble. انظر إلى أنفسكم. Look at yourselves يا إخوان. إذا العلم الذي عندكم يجعلك فوق الآخرين فهذا يدل على أنك ما استفدت حقا. You look at yourself in the mirror. If you think the knowledge that you have, Allah blessed you with, makes you better, makes you more superior than the others, then in reality you didn't benefit. No matter what you can recite, no matter what you memorize, in reality you didn't benefit. Knowledge makes you humble. So yes, some brothers, mashallah, some of the brothers went to Saudi, especially, I don't know what it is in Saudi. In Yemen, you don't really find a lot of arrogance. Not in African also. In the poor countries, you don't really see it. But the Kuwait, a lot of brothers I know went to Kuwait, Saudi, they come back, mashallah. You can't talk to them. You can't give them salams. You give the brother a hug. He's pushing you back. You have to make an appointment. Somebody's going to park his car. And this also goes to ikhwan because sometimes we praise one another. So the person يسمع إلى هذا ويؤمن به. وهذا خطير جدا. We're praising a brother, praising a sister, and then they're believing in it. Maybe I am a sheikh. I know I'm not a real sheikh, but every time I see the brothers, they call me sheikh. Maybe. So then he starts getting more arrogant and more arrogant and more arrogant. So once he makes an error, nobody can clarify for him now. So you give your advice, you enjoin the good, forbid the evil, and then your job is done. If the person causes something that contradicts the Quran and Sunnah, that's different. Then we will leave that person off. But if the origin is sound, his asl is sound, والكيفية مختلفة مثلا أو يخطئ في كيفية فننصحه ونبين خطأه له ثم نمشي يا إخوان إن شاء الله تعالى ونحترمه. If the person's origin is sound, what he's calling to is the Quran and Sunnah, the way the companions understood it, but maybe the way, the how he's doing it is not from the Quran and Sunnah. So you don't boycott him off the back. No, not like that. You give him advice. You clarify him that's a mistake. You show him and you keep the manners there. You enjoin the good and forbid the evil. That's what I would say. Wallahu alam. Anyone else, ya ikhwan? طيب نمشي. Let's continue, ya ikhwan. Is it obligatory? هل يجب علينا أن نأخذ من أي شيخ ما ومن أي طالب العلم ما? Question number 2. Let's see who's really paying attention. Is it obligatory that you have to take from any student of knowledge or any sheikh? Is it obligatory?
No.
The answer is no.
If you don't know.
The answer is no, ya ikhwan. What you have to take from is what? The Quran and Sunnah, with the understanding of the companions. Someone comes and say, well, this sheikh said. If you wish, you can say, may Allah reward that sheikh. Why are you not writing that down? I don't want to. No harm in that. One of the brothers years ago said, there was a brother, we don't take from this brother. We asked him, why not? He said, I asked him about sheikh such and such. I believe the sheikh that were reading his book. And he said, I don't know him. I said, what's your point? He said, well, how can he be on the sunnah and he don't know this great sheikh? So he must not be on the sunnah. So it's not like that, ya ikhwan. Who knows all of the ulama? In our masjid, we've been here for over a year. We don't know everybody, ya ikhwan. How many Jumu'ah we pass, we meet another brother. Alhamdulillah. You don't know everybody. So how are you going to know all the ulama? It's not like that. But of course, the more knowledge you learn, the more knowledge you seek, you may be familiar with some of the people of knowledge. And then some countries, they don't go outside their country. In Africa, ya ikhwan, they don't really go outside of Africa. The ulama in Africa are not really going to quote the ulama in Yemen. They're not going to quote the ulama in Saudi. They don't really do that. They have their ulama. Likewise in Saudi, they have their ulama. Likewise in this country and that country. It's not obligatory that we have to know all of the ulama. No, it's not like that. But the more scholars you know, inshallah, will be better for you, inshallah. Your knowledge can be more vast. Allahu alam. So let's get some benefit, ya ikhwan. قال بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وهذه بعض المسائل المهمة التي تتعلق بالصداق. For those that have the book, Sheikh Abdul Aziz, some issues that are connected to important matters of the dowry, or some important issues connected to the dowry. قال أولا أن صداق ملك للمرأة ليس لوليها منه شيء. Point number 1, we mentioned this already. The dowry, the wedding gift, belongs to the woman. ليس لوليها منه شيء. Her guardian has nothing to do with it. Can't take anything from it. إلا من سمحت به له عن طيب نفس, except what she allows. So point number 1, the dowry belongs to the women. ثم استثنى الشيخ فوزان, and then Sheikh Fawzan brings an exception. قال ولأبيها خاصة. He says, but her father, particularly only the father, and يأخذ من صداقها ولو لم تأذن. Sheikh Fawzan, he says, in his humble opinion, the father is the only one that has the right to take from the dowry of the woman. وَلَوْ لَمْ تَأْذَنْ, even if she doesn't allow. مَا لَا يَضُرُّهَا, as long as he does not harm her. وَلَا تَحْتَاجُ إِلَيْهِ, and she's not in need of it. وَهُوَ فِي حَاجَةٍ إِلَيْهِ, and he is in need of it. وَقُلْنَا يَا إخوان أَنَّ الْعُلَمَاء يَخْتَلِفُونَ, and we mentioned a few times that the scholars differ. Some scholars say the father is an exception. Other scholars say no. No one is exception. No one is an exception. Sheikh Fawzan is from those that say the father has that right. What's his proof, ya ikhwan? Who remembers the hadith?
You and your wealth belong to your father.
MashaAllah. You and your wealth belong to your father. وهو عند الإمام هو في السنن, and it's in the sunan. قال ثانيا, point number 2. يبدأ تملك المرأة لصداقها من العقد. Point number 2. You guys put that ball down, ya ikhwan. Come sit in class. 5 minutes, come on. Come sit and benefit 5 minutes. Inshallah. Point number 2. The woman, her ownership of the dowry, when does it start? When is it hers?
At the marriage.
At the marriage. At the time of the marriage. وذكرنا أنه جائز للعبد أن يعطي المرأة صداقها قبل العقد. هذا جائز. And we also mentioned it's allowed for the man to give the woman her dowry before the marriage. That's allowed. لكن الأولى والأفضل أن يعطيها الصداقة عند العقد. But the best is that the woman receives her dowry, receives ماذا? Her wedding gift at the time of the marriage. قال كما في البيع, he says, just as in the issues of buying and trading. ويتقرر كاملا بالوطئ, and it becomes ascertained, established completely at the time of relations. أو الخلوة بها, or when the man is alone with her. أو بموت أحدهما, or if one of them was to pass away. That last part, لا أفهم ذلك. I don't understand the last part. Huh?
Is that 3?
That's 3. No. Arsene. No, that was point number 2.
Oh.
We're still on 2. We're about to start 3. ثالثا, point number 3. إذا طلقها قبل الدخول أو الخلوة, if the man divorces the wife before having relations with her. هل هذا جائز أم لا? Is that allowed? Can a man divorce a woman that he didn't touch?
Yes.
The answer is yes. The answer is yes. وهذا يحصل كثيرا يا إخوان, خاصة في أمريكا. It happens a lot, especially in America.
It does.
إيه. في أمريكا كم مرة سمعنا, how many times we heard يا إخوان, تزوجا ثم رجعا إلى البيت ثم طلقها. How many times we heard in our own country? They got married, they went home, he looked, he wasn't pleased, and then he divorced her. وعلى الأسف في أغلبية المرأة ما شاء الله صالحة, لكن قد تكون كبيرة, قد تكون كبيرة في السن, وقد تكون كذا وكذا, بطنها ربما يكون كبيرا ويطلقها على الأسف. And usually you find when this happens, that woman that the man was not pleased with physically was a righteous girl, a righteous woman. Maybe she was elderly, maybe she wasn't as athletic as she used to be, so her belly got a little more plump.
Yes.
That happens. How many times you hear, what happened, Yaki? MashaAllah, I had to sit down. She looked, I thought I could be patient. We got married. She took off her khimar. She was bald-headed, Yaki. I can't be patient with the sister. She didn't have no. That happens, Yaki. Many of us are more superficial than you think. وكذلك المرأة ولعله يقع عندهن أكثر والله أعلم. And perhaps it happens more with the women. We do it a lot, unfortunately, as men. We're real superficial. The man can have a woman, she's a memorizer, righteous, holds him down, obedient, patient. But she's not as small as I like, Yahi. I like the little ones, or she gained some weight on me. And a lot of times she gained weight having your child. That happens a lot. I just couldn't, man, Allah forgive me, Yahi. I couldn't do it. It happens a lot. And the women are more than us. The man has a little belly, a nice guy, reminds you of the Quran and the Sunnah, trying to be righteous, noble, honorable. But his hair is not like it used to be. His hair doesn't come, he don't have the waves no more. They're not, how the young guys, they say, it's not flowing as much. It's not on the river like it used to be. The brothers, when they come, alhamdulillah, nice shape up. You see their nice waves, alhamdulillah. You give them salams. Yo, don't come too close to my hair, Yaki. That happens, Yaki. You say, yeah, it's better to wear a kufi. No, yeah, Sheikh, my waves, I can't. No problem. That's allowed to be flashy, ikhwan, to a certain degree, to have some style. They say that the brothers in New York and New Jersey, Philly, that they have a swag with them. Alhamdulillah. There's nothing wrong with that, ikhwan. He can tell us apart. Brother got a nice little walk with him, little way. Alhamdulillah. As long as he's not walking arrogantly and the likes. No problem, ya ikhwan. New York, they're real stylish there, mashallah. I haven't seen nobody more stylish than New York brothers. Alhamdulillah, that's my opinion. DC also. There's some stylish brothers down DC. Alhamdulillah, there's nothing wrong with that, ikhwan. In New York, they have a way. A nice style with them. There's nothing wrong with that. So the brother doesn't have that. The sisters, oh brother, I couldn't do it. I thought he was knowledgeable. What I found out, he just recycles the same 2 hadith over. That happens there, come on. I thought he was the sheikh. He keeps saying the same 40 hadith over. And every time I ask him to teach me something, it's 40 hadith over again. We start a new book, it's the same 40 hadith that we just learned. I can't do it, brother. They do it more than us, ya ikhwan. May Allah help us. طيب. قال قبل دخول أو الخلوة بها. Before entering her or having relations with her, or before sitting alone with her. لماذا قال هذا؟ وهذا مهم. Why did the Sheikh say that? Before sitting alone with her. Before having relations or before sitting alone. لماذا قال هذا? Why did he say that?
Because it's an intimate setting.
It's an intimate setting. It is. Anyone else? Sheikh Zayd? It's intimate. طيب أعطيكم فائدة عظيمة تتعلق بالفقه. I give you a benefit, tremendous benefit connected to fiqh.
Because of the shaitan. Abu Abdillah.
But they married.
Oh,
He has the right to be alone with her. That's his wife.
I think you're talking about that. ليس بعد ذلك.
ليس قبله بعد النكاح.
أيوة.
So they're husband and wife. Why did the Sheikh say before having relation with her or before sitting alone with her? بعض العلماء يقولون الخلوة مثل الجماع وإذا يجلس معها في الخلوة ويطلقها لها عدة كما إذا يدخل بها ويطلقها لها عدة. Some scholars, they say, sitting alone with a woman without touching her, but being alone with her, just you and the wife, is just like when y'all have relations. Some scholars hold that opinion. And if you divorce her after sitting alone with her, say y'all hug, y'all don't do the intimacy, but you're alone. You touch her hand, she takes her jilbab off, for example, that's your wife. And then you divorce her. Some scholars say she has a iddah, although you didn't have relations. Just as if you have relations with her and divorce her, she would have a iddah. So the Sheikh brings both positions. على الأسف لم وجدنا دليلهم لهذا القول حتى الآن. However, unfortunately, although many scholars say that, we have not yet found the evidence from the Quran and Sunnah. So they say that, but once again, not everyone's position has adillah. نحترم العلماء ونحترم طلبة العلم نعم لكن نحتاج إلى الدليل. We love the ulama. How many times we say we love the students of knowledge, we honor the ulama, and we honor the students of knowledge, but they still need evidence. Not everyone's position, ya ikhwan, has evidence. There are many positions we can mention and there's no proof for.
Naeem, are you saying that that the evidence that they present doesn't add up, it doesn't measure up, or are you saying they don't give evidence at all?
طيب, I would say in the middle of the both, in the middle there. فيما أعلم, as far as my humble estimation, حتى الآن ما وجدنا دليلا ليؤيد هذا القول. So far, I've never seen the proof that they're using to say if the man is alone with the wife and he pronounces her divorce on her, that she gets her iddah. To this day.
So it's just from their own fahm.
It appears to be from the ijtihad. Ijtihad, ya ikhwan, is different than just a guess or an opinion. You may hear this word a lot, opinion, position. They're different. In English, they're different. An opinion is what? Opinion is رأي بدون دليل أو بدون النظرة إلى الدليل والموقف مختلف. An opinion usually is what? Someone's opinion without him looking at the Quran and Sunnah. I say to you, what's the best masjid to go to in Newark, New Jersey? or where are we? East Orange, New Jersey. One of the brothers, he says, go to masjid such and such. You say, you ever been there? He said, no, never been there. You say, what masjid have you been to? He said, I don't go no masjid. But he's giving advice, this is the best masjid. So his opinion is not really sound, it's not based upon anything. A position is different. Same issue. What's the best masjid to go learn, ya akhi, in our city? The brother says, go to masjid such and such. You say, what masjid do you go to? He said, I went to almost all of them in my years living here. This masjid you're going to learn such and such. That masjid you're going to learn Quran. That masjid you're going to learn Arabic. That masjid you're going to learn all of them. So his opinion is based upon something concrete. That's usually a position. So when the ulama look at the evidence, they look at the Quran and Sunnah and then deduce. And they say Tawheed is either 2 categories, 3 categories, or 4 categories. Allah didn't say that. There's no ayah where Allah Ta'ala says Tawheedu thalatha, or Tawheedu arba', or Tawheedu ithnatan, or Tawheedu ithnan. هذا لا يوجد في الكتاب. Allah never said in the Quran, never. Tawheed is 2 types, Tawheed is 3 types, Tawheed is 4 types. That's a lie upon Allah if we say that. وَلَا قَالَهُ النَّبِيُّ, nor did the Prophet say that. وَلَا قَالَهُ Sahaba, nor did the companions say that. So where do we get that from? Al-istiqra' wa tatabbu'. There's something called al-istiqra' wa tatabbu'. When you study and examine the Quran and Sunnah. You take the Quran and you lay all the ayat out. And you take all of those hadith that you know of out. And then you deduce. Every time Allah mentions Tawheed, He's either talking about here or there. Every time the Prophet of Allah mentions Tawheed, he's either talking about this or this. That's called istiqra' wa tatabbu'. It's a science.
The kalima al-istiqra', is this encouragement, this word?
Not encouragement. It's from the verb. The origin is qarraru, but istiqra' is on the 10th form. Istiqra' is more like investigating, studying, doing research. What tatabbu'. You say, what are you guys studying now? Nattabi'u al-fiqh. We're studying the fiqh. For example, we're researching. We say, listen, let's see what Shawkaanee says. Let's see what Ahmad says. Let's see what Ash-Shafi'i says. We used to do that a lot in Yemen, ya ikhwan. That's a nice drill. You give an issue, alhamdulillah, and then you get the brothers to do some research. And then you come back, what you wrote, and then we put together a paper. A lot of the small manuscripts were like that overseas. And the students research. And the stuff that you research your own, it usually stays with you. Ask any Imam, any researcher. I give you some research and you just read it, or you do your own research. Which one stays with you the most? Usually your own research. It's one thing to go and say, oh, Sheikh Fawzan said, Sheikh Fawzan said, Sheikh Fawzan said. Right. Now you stop and you go research it. It usually stays with you longer. Some of the hadith, some of the narration that I remember the most was the ones that I researched. And then there are some that the scholar shared with you that I would never found. For example, there was a statement years ago that one of the masajid up here became real popular for. And they thought our beloved brother, our beloved Imam made that statement up. Who are you to make up statements and like this and like that? And in reality, he's quoting one of the Salaf. There was a statement years ago, let the Sunnah go forward and don't stop it. Now the last part is a bad translation. The last one, don't stop it. However, he didn't make that up, ya ikhwan. He was quoting one of the beloved Imams, Muhammad ibn Shihab al-Zuhri. He used to say, دَعُ سُنَّةَ تَمْضُي وَلَا تَعْرِضُوا لَهَا بِالرَّأْيِ. Let the Sunnah go forth and don't oppose it with opinions. So a lot of times we think somebody's making something up, but there's a narration there. There's a source there. There's a foundation there. At any rate, ikhwan, and all of this shows the importance of seeking knowledge. To be a strong student of knowledge, you're not going to take nobody's word outside the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam. Anytime somebody tells you something, you're still going to go back and recite, check it. Or when you narrate, you're going to say, brother such and such told me. Freeze yourself, Yawm al-Qiyamah. Some of the hadith that I never got the chance to go look at, when I learned them, I would say, Sheikh such and such said that the Prophet said. I'm not saying the Prophet said that, because I don't know. I didn't look at it. Somebody says the hadith is in Bukhari. Before you pass that on, check it. Because you're going to be held accountable Yawm al-Qiyamah. And that's why we shouldn't talk so much about each other. This one is on the sunnah, that one is not on the sunnah. How do you really know? كل شخص له خير وله شر. Every person has good and bad. حتى الشيطان. Even a shaitan. نكرر هذا. Let's say that again. حتى الشيطان. Even shaitan has some good, يا إخوان. انظر إلى بعض الآيات. الشيطان يتكلم. Look at some of the verses. When shaitan is talking, you'll be amazed. That's shaitan saying that? How? How? Some of the hadith Abu Hurairah with the sadaqah in Ramadan. That's shaitan. He gave him a benefit. Sometimes shaitan can give you a benefit. Sometimes what you're about to do, a shaitan ya'ti wa yadulluka ala shay'in akhar bi ajrin aqal. Wa hadha min kayd shaitan. Sometimes you're about to do something that has a tremendous reward. Shaitan comes and he tricks you. He whispers to you. And he says, no, don't do that, but do this. And that can also be something good. But the reward is less. That's another trick of shaitan. Another trick of shaitan. So we have to be careful, ya ikhwan. The more knowledgeable you are, the more you can defend against the shaitan. One of the best ways is that you fortify yourself with knowledge, with the iman, with the taqwa, with the aqidah of al-Islam. No. So I didn't read عندما نسمع قول العلماء نحترم العلماء هذا من الإسلام لكن لا نقلد نبحث عن الدليل نبحث عن الدليل. We love the people of knowledge. That's our religion. Oh, you don't blind follow. Someone says it's in that book. Before you pass it on to someone, you have to verify it. You're going to be held accountable. يقول تعالى, Allah Ta'ala says, ولا تقف ما ليس لك به علم إن السمع والبصر والفؤاد كل أولئك كان عنه مسؤولا. Surah Isra. Allah says, and do not say what you have no knowledge of. إن السمع, verily your hearing, والبصر, and your vision, والفؤاد, and your heart, كل أولئك كان عنه مسؤولا. Each one of them are going to be questioned. Your hearing, your vision, and your heart is all going to be questioned by Allah. So, we say like our Sheikh used to say, لا تقول أن فلان على السنة حتى تعلموا باليقين أنه على السنة. Don't say such and such is on the sunnah until you know with surety he's on the sunnah. ولا تقول أن فلانا صاحب البدع حتى تعلموا باليقين. And don't say such and such is off of it, like we say. Such and such is hitting the head. Such and such is, and we give all these phrases, such and such is an innovator. Until you know for sure. Perhaps the one that you think is not on the sunnah is reality on the sunnah. And the one that you think is on the sunnah, in reality, is not on the sunnah. قال ثالثا إذا طلقها قبل الدخول أو الخلوة وقد سمى لها صداقا. If the man marries the girl, marries the woman, and then he divorces her without having relations, or without being alone with her, and he mentions to her the dowry, فَلَهَا نِصْفُهُ. So he divorces her without touching her. Then she still gets half of the dowry. She still keeps half of the dowry. لِقَوْلِهِ تَعَالَى, based upon the statement of Allah that comes in Surah Al-Baqarah. You brothers write this down, tonight's homework. Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 237. 237. Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 237. قال وإن طلقتموهن من قبل أن تمسهن وقد فرضتم لهن فريضة فالنصف ما فرضتم. Surah Al-Baqarah. Allah Ta'ala, He says, this is what the Shaykh is getting that point of view from. He says, where Allah says, and if you divorce them, meaning the women, min qabli an tamassuhun, before you touch them. What's touching here? Consummation, having relations. وَقَدْ فَرَضْتُمْ لَهُنَّ فَرِيضًا. And you have given them a dowry. You have given them the dowry. فَنِصْفُ مَا فَرَضْتُمْ. Now, half of what you have given stays with the woman. And the other half comes back to the man. أَيْ لَكُمْ وَلَهُنْ. Sheikh Fawzan, he says, meaning for you and for them. So you have a dowry, and then without consummating, especially if you're like many of us, everything is superficial. Everything to most of us. Especially a lot of the younger brothers. Not about manners, not about knowledge, not about none of that. How does she look, ya akhi? One of the brothers, he just get impatient. He said, I got a nice sister for you, ya akhi. You're telling him all the good. He just like, ya akhi, ya shaykh, afwan. I just got one question. What's your question? How does the girl look, ya akhi? That's it. That's most of us, ya akhwan. And the sisters are the same. MashaAllah, girl, got a nice brother for you. He got 4 jobs, memorized Quran, trying to be a student of knowledge, good manners, nice little car, motorcycle, couple pair of Timbs. You like those Timbs? Alhamdulillah. She's praising, mentioned all his good with children, respectful, mannerful. She's like, oh, that's nice, ya akhi. But is the man cute? They're the same way, ya akhwan. The same way most of us, the most important thing is the outer. A lot of times the women. But the women is more what? They have something else more than the looks. What do they have? What do they care about, rather? Most important. How much money you got? That's most of the women. And we're not saying it's not important. We live in America. Without money, you're not going to survive. But there's something more honorable than money. The same way for the brothers. It's okay to like the physical, the prettiness, the beauty of the girl. You ask the brother, yeah, why'd you choose her? Man, you seen her, ya akhi? That's why, ya akhi. Alhamdulillah, that's okay. But it's something more honorable than that. Her character, her knowledge, her religion, her manners. How does she worship Allah? There are questions we don't ask about. When's the last time you read a book? Or last time you finished a book? Do you read the book like most of us? We read the first paragraph. MashaAllah, I'm done with that. I'm a sheikh. That's America. That's us. طيب قال الإمام الفوزان فاقتضى أن النصف له والنصف لها بمجرد الطلاق. He says so, half is for the man and half stays with the woman. بمجرد الطلاق, because of the divorce. وأيهما عفا لصاحبه عن نصيبه منه. And which of the two is going to pardon? That's something we don't really do nowadays. Forgive each other and overlook the faults of one another. وَهُوَ جَائِزُ التصرف. So if the man, he says he pardons, no, you can keep it. May Allah bless that brother. The sister says, no, you can keep it. May Allah reward that sister. We don't really see that nowadays. The person pardoning. Nowadays, you owe somebody money, he's going to call you every day. Hey, Assalamu alaikum, ya akhi. Give you that Jersey salam. Assalamu alaikum. That's the Jersey salam right there, ikhwan. You know some money is coming after that. Assalamu alaikum, ya shaykh. How's everything? Alhamdulillah. Hey, man. You get around to give me my $20 yet? Then tomorrow come, hey, Assalamu alaikum. Anytime you hear that Jersey salams there, something's coming after that. I'm trying to tell you. How many times after Juma, hey, Salik. I'm like, who is Salaikum, ya Khan? Who is San? Who is San?
One brother was telling me that the brothers use Fulan and Fulan so much that on new Shahada asked him, who is Fulan and Fulan? Those people.
Wow.
You're like, who's Fulan? I remember one time years ago, we were just studying Arabic. We're still just studying Arabic, but we were a lot newer. So the sheikh was saying, Fulan wa a'lan, Fulan wa a'lan, a'lan, Fulan a'lan. So the brother's like, man, mashallah. He said, what? He said, I didn't know that the dawah reached China. He said, what are you talking about? I said, the sheikh said, Fulan a'lan. Ain't that Chinese? He's like, no, yeah, he knows Arabic. May Allah help us here, Ikhwan. No. So we don't really pardon and forgive ya, Ikhwan, a lot. May Allah help us all, ya, Ikhwan.
You said, and I'm going back a little
No.
bit, you said something about Surah Baqarah 237.
At your homework, I want you guys to write this verse
With that,
10 times.
Are you talking about the second Surah 2 or the Ayah 237?
Second surah, verse 237.
Oh, verse 237.
And accent. طيب, you gonna hear it tomorrow's Jumu'ah? Watch how many Salaikum. Hey, Salaikum. You gonna hear it, yeah? You hear it a lot.
I got a question that might not be pertaining to this, but the dowry is given back fully only in like the wife is with infidelity.
The issue there, Juan, is real detailed, and it should be taken to like a judge.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we don't have that in America. Even the way we ask for khul', I give you another benefit, Juan. A lot of things we do in the West, we're deficient. We're deficient. Because we don't have the mahkama al-Islami. We don't have the Islamic courts. وَمَا عِنْدَنَا قُضَاء. And we don't have Islamic judges. All we have is the imma wa tulab al-ilmi. All we have is the imams and students of knowledge. طيب, مسألة الخلع. The issue of when the woman returns the dowry back and ransoms herself from the marriage. هذا جائز. That's allowed. لكن إلى من ذهبت إليه. But where does she go? Who does she go to?
Her father.
Her father. طيب. Anyone else?
Back home to her.
4.
Back home
4.
to get the khulr, to get the divorce.
Oh, she's supposed to go to the judge, but here
She go to the judge.
imam.
طيب, but we don't have a judge.
She go to the imam. here.
To the witness. Okay.
Shahid, yeah.
But in America nowadays, the woman turns to the man and says, hey, I want a khulr. She returns the dowry back. The man says, okay. And then they're over. In most instances. But that's not how it happened in the time of the Messenger. انظر إلى حديث البخاري وحديث أبي داود. Go to the book of Bukhari, book of divorce. And the book of Abu Dawud, his Sunan, the book of divorce. Hadith of Ibn Abbas. Hadith of Ibn Abbas. ذهبت المرأة إلى النبي. The woman, she didn't request from the khulr, from the man. She went to the judge, the Prophet. In a Muslim country, you just can't divorce the way we divorce nowadays. You're not sitting at home and then you burnt the rice and then she's mad and then, mashallah, I can't do this no longer. I want a khulr. Here's your dowry. Okay, shukran. She packs up. Assalamu alaikum. It's over. No, that's in America. In a Muslim land, someone has to judge between you. Not anyone, a judge. So you guys go to the qadi and he's going to hear both of the issues. And if he determines that based on what I hear from you, that that's suitable for divorce, he grants a khulr. Like in the time of the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam. ذهبت إلى النبي. She went to the Prophet. فبينت لها أو بينت له سببها. And she clarified to the Prophet her reason. فقال يا نبي لا أرى بدينه بأس لكنني أخاف الكفر. She said, O Prophet of Allah, I don't see any deficiency in his religion. ولا في خلقه, nor in his character, but I'm afraid for myself disbelief. I'm afraid for myself disbelief. طيب. ثم النبي حكم بينهما. Then the Prophet judged between them both. Nowadays, how many marriages? You're married, but you're really divorced. You think you're married, but in the sight of Allah, it's over. Or how many marriages? You think you're divorced, but you're really married. And then she goes and marries someone else. Because she thought the marriage was really over. And that's why it's so important to learn. You'll be amazed, ikhwan. How many times the sister is married to a new brother, but she's still with the old brother. She just doesn't know it. The way they divorced was wrong. So they're still married. That happens a lot, ikhwan.
There was an instance where it came where a sister texted her husband, asking for a khulr, and he granted, and he texted back, okay.
Okay, that's fine. As long as you can affirm that that's really her, and that's really him.
Okay.
With a text, you have to be careful, ikhwan. Like a letter. You can divorce from a letter. You can divorce from a text. But you have to make sure that it's really that person. And you have to make sure it's really that person replying back. Suppose you send a text to the wife. She beats you, so you're a little afraid. So you don't. So you send it. I'm not going back home, ya akhi. What's up, man? He's over in the corner writing a long Dear John letter, alhamdulillah, texting out on his phone. He sends it to her. That's allowed. But suppose she never got it. Suppose she never gets it. So you think it's over. In her mind, she's still married. She never got a divorce. Like sometimes the brothers, they think they divorced. And they never pronounced it. Nowadays, especially our women, they say what? Get out. Enough is enough. This is my house. One thing about a woman, she's going to let you know it's hers. هذا البيت لي السيارة لي الملابس لي هذا كله هذا لي أخرج من بيتي. Most of the women, this is my house, this is my car, this is my clothes, this is my this. She's going to say that mine. And then the man gets out. Is that a divorce? In the sight of Allah, no?
No.
So now he left. She starts a whole another marriage. And they never divorced. So that second marriage is false. Then they don't work out. She marries another brother. Then that marriage is false also. Because she's still with the first brother. Many times, be careful being judges in people's marriages and divorces. Be careful. Because, تفضل شيخ.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
The sister, she says, shukran for clarifying that, because it's not all the women. Inshallah, Allah bless you. We try our best, ya Ikhwan, to be mindful. It's never going to be all the brothers. It's never going to be all this country or that country or this sisters. That's not like that, ya Ikhwan. We're Muslims, alhamdulillah. We try our best to mention the truth without offending no one. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. So let's fast forward some, ya Ikhwan. Alright, the next chapter is the chapter of the walima. We'll see, we can maybe skip that chapter, ya Ikhwan. طيب لا بس. قال بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم باب في وليمة العرس. Chapter regarding the walima of the marriage, the wedding feast or the wedding meal, the walima. قال أصل الوليمة تمام الشيء واجتماعه. The origin of the walima is the completion of something and it's being gathered together. That's the origin. أولم الرجل. You say أولم. You brothers studying Arabic, write this new word down. الكلمة الجديدة. A new word for many of us. أولم. أولم. In Arabic, alif, waw, lam, mim. Alif, waw, lam, mim. بالإنجليزية, in English, or transliteration, A-W, L-A-M-A. A-W, L-A-M-A. Awlama is the verb to have a walima. Awlama. Awlama rajulu. The brother is having a walima. Awlama. إذا اجتمع عقله وخلقه. He says if he has his rationale, his faculties, and his character. Another way to use the word awlama, to have a walima, or you can describe a person, Allahu Akbar, that has his intelligence and his character. You can say awlama hada. This man, awlama, he has his faculties and he has good character. ثم نقل هذا المعنى إلى تسمية طعام العرس. And then this meaning, it was used in another way. It was used regarding the naming of the food of the marriage, the walima, the food of a marriage, the wedding feast. قال اجتماع الرجل والمرأة بسبب الزواج. He says because of the man and the woman coming together, wa alaikum assalam, in order or because of the marriage. ولا يقال لغير طعام العرس وليمة. Then he gives a tremendous benefit also in the Arabic language. The only time you use the word walima is describing the food of the marriage. Any other food is not called the walima. The only food you call, or the only time you use this word, is this food that describe food that is the food of the marriage. It's called the walima. It's called the walima. قال ولا يقال لغير طعام العرس وليمة. And other than the food of the marriage, you don't call it a walima. من حيث اللغة, from the ways of the Arabic language, وعرف الفقهاء, and the practices of the scholars of al-fiqh. قال وهناك أطعمة تصنع لمناسبة كثيرة لكل منها اسم خاص. And he says, and there are special types of foods that can be cooked and made for certain numerous occasions, and each one of them has their own name. قال وحكم وليمة العرس. And I have an incorrect in my book, ya ikhwan. This should be a fatha, but this is just a PDF. Does any in your book, Sheikh Abdul Aziz, do you have Arabic in your book or just English?
I have all English.
I think that committee in the kingdom did that one. There's a committee there. Look on your cover. It's who published that one?
Say that again?
Who published the book you have? Do you see at the bottom, does it say published by?
No, it's just a board exchange of ulama and the members of the permanent committee for fatwa and research.
Okay. No. طيب, in the Arabic one, I have the PDF here. It should be a kasra. حكم وليمتي. Sometimes with PDFs, there could be a lot of mistakes in the print. Because it's just an image. It's just a picture of an image. So I wanted to see, we don't have the book. Maybe the Imam has the book. We can make sure it's not a mistake in the book. قالوا حكم وليمة. Next point to write down before we pray. What's the ruling on the walima? What's the ruling on the walima? قال أنها سنة باتفاق أهل العلم. So the Imam al-Fawzan, he says, the walima, its ruling is it's a sunnah. And this is in accordance with all of the scholars. That the walima is not obligatory, it's not allowed, it's not hated, it's not haram, but rather it is sunnah. What's another term you can use for recommending? What's another term? Istihab. Another one? Close. You can say similar, close. You can also say sunnatul mu'akkada. If you put sunnah first, if you just say mu'akkada, It's understood, but usually it comes sunnatun mu'akkadatun. You can say sunnah, you can say mustahab. There are many ikhwan. Sunnatun mu'akkada, an established, a firm sunnah that the Prophet barely left off, like raising your hands in 4 instances in the salah. Ma hunna, what are they?
The first takbir.
When you first takbiratul ihram,
The first time you go down.
when you go into ruku', come back up, Sami Allahu liman hamidah, 3.
And after the sitting.
And after you sit in tashahhud, when you stand up in the 3rd raka'ah, you're making tashahhud, ثم تقوم, then you stand up. الرفع هنا أيضا سنة. So raise your hands here is another sunnah. 4. هل يوجد غيرها? Are there other places you can raise the hands? Or just these 4? There are other places. What's another one?
Before you raise up, confirm the shahada.
طيب, before you raise up, طيب, this is important يا أخي. يرى بعض المسلمين يفعلون هذا ولعلهم يخطئون في حديث أبي هريرة. You see, many of the brothers and the sisters do this a lot. They're sitting here, and before they stand, they raise their hands before they stand. It appears, wallahu alam, that they're misunderstanding the hadith of Abu Hurairah. And the hadith of Abu Hurairah, it says, ثُمَّ قَامَ. He stood up and raised his hands. So you see, many of the brothers, they do this. They end the tashahhud, and then the Imam says, Allahu Akbar, and then they raise their hands here. Allahu Akbar, and then stand up. That's not correct. It appears they're misunderstanding the hadith of Abu Hurairah. He says, ثُمَّ قَامَ. Then the Prophet stood up, and then he raised his hands. Right? So there are 4 times, that's almost every time in the salah. Fil ihram, when you first start. Fil ruku', when you bow. الرافع من الركوع, when you come up from the ruku'. والقيام إلى ثالثة, and standing up in the 3rd raka'ah. But there are others. I'll give you another one. We don't do this a lot at our masjid. We see a few of our African brothers that have some knowledge of hadith, they do this. A lot of the other brothers, we don't implement this sunnah a lot. But Shaykh Albani mentions over 10 من الصحابة يفعلون مثل هذا. In his Sifat Salatul Nabi, how the Prophet prayed, he mentions over 10, I want to say 20, but 10, just to be safe, companions implementing this sunnah. في القيام قبل النزول إلى السجود. While you're standing up here, سمي الله لمن حمده ربنا ولك الحمد. What do you do with your hands? You raise them up? What do you do with them now? What are they?
Put them back on your chest.
Right, one opinion is what? Hit them on your chest. All the scholars say that?
No.
What's another opinion?
Sides.
Hit them to the sides. Which one is the strongest?
I think the sides.
Sides or your chest?
To the side, because actually there isn't enough time between you singing Allahu Liman Hamidah and then the Imam says Allahu Akbar. So there's not enough time to really put them back here. You should put them
That's not evidence.
So the Sheikh, let's be fair. So our Sheikh is saying it's not enough time to put your hands on the chest, but you have enough time to put them on your sides. That bad. At any rate,
Sheikh Uthaymeen Rahimahullah said putting them back on the chest is
a sunnah.
Is a sunnah because from the takbir you come.
While you're standing.
Nah.
That's true.
He said it was an innovation. He said it was an
I give you a benefit, ya ikhwan. In fiqh, you can almost use any shake you wish against any shake you wish. You guys understand? In al-fiqh. لا تجعلوا طيب حجتكم أقوال العلماء أبدا. حاولوا يا إخوان أن لا تفعلوا مثل هذا. Try your best not to make the statements of the scholars your proofs. Try your best not to do that as a student of knowledge. لكن فهموا افهموا استدلال العلماء. حاولوا أن تخرجوا استدلال أو فهم من أقوال العلماء. Try your best. Don't be like most of the Americans, or most of the African Americans, or most of the Muslims living in America. That we use a lot of times the statements of the ulama as guides, no. As benefits, no. as proofs. So this brother comes and say, Sheikh Albani said. Another brother comes and say, hey, Sheikh Ibn Abbas said. The sister in the back is going to come and say, hey, Sheikh Mukbil said. Our little Sheikh is going to stand up and say, hey, Sheikh Abdul Mursin said. And that issue is never going to stop. So try your best not to make your proofs the scholars say, but rather try to understand why do the scholars say that. طيب, 2 opinions. First opinion, your hands go on your chest. Second opinion, or position rather, your hands go to the sides. طيب, which one is the strongest? I'll give you a benefit. It depends on who's talking. That somebody memorize this. قولوا هذا الراجح ليس بدليل. The statement, this is the strongest, it's not a proof. That's the position of the speaker. مثالا, an example. قال الشيخ الألباني هذا بدعة ثم قال هذا الراجح. طيب, Sheikh Albani, he says, in his humble opinion, placing your hands on your chest is an innovation. And then he says, and that's the strongest opinion. Then we go to another Sheikh, Sheikh Uthaymeen. He says, al-dumm ba'd al-ruku' sunnah wa hadha rajih. Sheikh Uthaymeen says, placing your hands on your chest is a sunnah, and this is the strongest opinion. طيب, before you use the scholars against each other, don't do that. Why are they saying that? Why did Sheikh Albani say this is innovation?
So surely if the Prophet had did it, it would have reached us.
Hey, if there's some specific proof that the Prophet did this, where is that narration? The only thing is that the same argument he's making can be used against him. Because for those that put their hands to this, and I don't want no one to misunderstand. Now when we pray, everybody's going to be confused on what to do with their hands. Everybody's going to be in the salah. Oh, what the brother doing here? What the sheikh doing? Everybody. Not like that, ikhwan. We're not trying to change nobody's positions here, ikhwan. طيب. So, if there's no specific proof to put your hands here, which there isn't.
Finish this after salah.
الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله